I love talking about and sharing how to become a human lie detector.
I love talking about the Avengers. Neither one is real, but go on.
Very useful stuff that you can apply to so many things in our lives.
Yes, I'm surrounded by liars and I need to call them out because I want the ugly truth. I need it like a woman.
Not as difficult as people think. So I'm going to go over several different ways to pick up if people are telling lies. It is not a checklist. Nobody is going to do every single one. But if they do many of them, it kind of adds up, and then you look at it, and if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and looks like a duck,
Let me guess, it's a duck.
then that person's probably lying.
What? I thought it was a duck.
So one time, somebody who had taken this training, they had a business where they thought they had an employee stealing. So after this training, they went and they looked at everything I'm about to share with you, and they said that the person did almost every single one, and they eventually found out later they were stealing from them, and they fired them.
There you go. Did you hear that? So how did they find out he was stealing? A camera? A witness? Yeah. Evidence. They probably got evidence and didn't even need to interrogate anyone.
So just find out which one applies, because it may not be all of them. First, you've got to establish a person's baseline. So what that means is you can't immediately walk in and start accusing somebody or saying they're lying or they stole from you.
Really? Really? You can't? Huh.
I have a friend who has a very bad shake in his hand. If you went up to this guy and you immediately started trying to accuse him and you didn't know him at all, you may think that shake meant he's lying. That is normal. So you need to know a person's baseline. Sit with them. Talk to them.
I don't want to sit with you or talk with you, Agent Mulder.
If you think they stole something, say, hey, Jim, you know, we're missing $500 from the safe. Who do you think could have taken it? Or, hey, Jim, we're missing $500 from the safe. Did Billy come by later? Is he the one who maybe took it?
Why are you asking me? Why are you pretending to be my friend? Oh, you want me to narc on Billy? Billy's got his own problems.
That way you can see their normal baseline. You're not accusing them. You're not putting them in an uncomfortable position. Watch the feet. Everybody thinks it's the head or the face, which is the dead giveaway. But we are trained to lie with our face.
We are. We're trained to lie with our face. Yes, we are. We're all trained with our mouths.
We're used to lying with our mouth. Subconsciously, our feet are going to give us away. So TSA and custom agents are trained to watch where the feet are pointing.
That is a steaming pile of shit.
So if I'm facing up right here at the custom booth, and they ask me if I have anything to declare, yet my feet are pointing this way and I'm sitting here trying to talk, why are my feet pointing this way? As in, I want to get the heck out of here. So your feet are subconsciously telling you want to get away. Also, if you're sitting at a table, maybe you're sitting talking to someone, your feet start jiggling and the feet start moving around, yet they were perfectly still before you started talking about the uncomfortable missing money, that's a giveaway too. If they have their legs crossed and all of a sudden their ankle starts jiggling when you
jiggling.
Start talking to them about this uncomfortable situation, that's a giveaway also. So remember to watch the feet. So let me tell you a quick story. I used to have this neighbor, and wonderful person, but every time I came out of my house, she would talk to me forever. And I would sit there for a half an hour having a conversation, and I couldn't escape her. So it literally used to be, I'd get ready to walk him out of my house, I'd see her going to her car, and I'd hop back in, wait for her to get in her car, and then I'd leave.
I kind of want to do that with you.
I found myself when I was in conversations with her like, oh yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful. My feet are pointing that way. Now that was more consciously, but I'm sure you've been in a dinner party trying to get away from someone. Your head's here, your feet are this way because you're trying to get away from them. So pay attention to the feet jiggling. Also watch where they're pointing. People say they're cold. My wife always says she's cold.
Your wife says she's cold. What does that say about you, sir?
However, if you're sitting there, and let's just use spouses now that I mentioned my wife. So your spouse, let's say you want to know if they're having an affair, they took some money. If you're sitting on a couch and you're like, hey dear, this money went missing, do you know what happened to it? And all of a sudden they say they're cold. A reason for that is when people who are lying feel guilty and they know they're kind of trapped, all the blood rushes to their heart for the fight or flight syndrome. So it's leaving their extremities, which is why they'll often say they're cold when they're lying. A huge one is the freeze. So let's say there was a huge group here, we were in a huge room, and I was missing my tactical pen. So I came back from a break, maybe I put my tactical pen on the table where I got all my gear, and my tactical pen was gone.
Gone or forgot it at home?
If I started yelling and screaming at that group, which I wouldn't do, but if I did, and accusing them of stealing my tactical pen, the people who are innocent, the normal reaction would be like, no, we didn't take it. And they'd be animated, no, don't call us that.
No, don't accuse us of that.
Whereas the guilty party would freeze and be the least animated of all of them.
Or just bored with you.
Because they don't want to draw attention to themselves because they know they're guilty. They would kind of want to go in a tortoise shell.
I want to go into a turtle shell. Not with you. Or you forgot your pen, you stupid.
And I can give you a perfect example of this, which happened to me on an airplane once. So I'll make this appropriate. I was on an airplane, started to smell a very nasty smell. Somebody had obviously let some gas. Well, it was a horrible smell, and I'm looking up, and I'm looking around like, where in the world did that come from?
He who smelt it, dealt it.
And I notice everybody else is too looking up like, where in the world is that smell coming from? Except the guy a row up into my left. He's sitting there freezing, while everybody else is looking around, which normal people do. But
and it's impossible that he could have a cold, a stuffy nose, an allergy, or maybe he's going through a loss. People sometimes travel to funerals on planes, you insensitive mortician.
Dead giveaway, that guy was the culprit of the not very good smell. So pay attention to the freeze. They won't touch you. This is a big one for spouses. You're sitting on the couch again trying to find out if there's missing money or where it went. If your spouse is usually touchy-feely, puts their arm around your arm on their leg, but all of a sudden they've taken off that arm and they're not touchy-feely at all, that's because they feel guilty.
Or they're pissed at you for accusing them of stealing. Oh, you are so much fun.
And they're trying to retract in that shell. So they feel guilty, they don't want to be touching you, pay attention to that. The squinting one, people squinting, that's a hard one to actually pick up on because it's not like their eyes are going to be 90% closed, but the eyes want to shut out the negativity of the interrogation.
Your wife is cold, she won't touch you, and she's squinting. Are you sure she's not having a stroke?
So if you see all of a sudden the eyes start to squint and get smaller, that's another giveaway, but harder one to see. With the eyes, the misconception is that people always look down, or if they're lying and you ask them a question, they look at the ground. That's not true because we live in a society where we have subordinates. So if your boss came up to you and you're the subordinate and he accused you of something, just because he's your boss and you may be intimidated by the CEO or whomever, you may look down. That doesn't mean you're lying, just because that person has more of a position of authority. What actually happens with the eyes is people stare too hard. So they try and stare at you and over-convince you that, no, I'm not lying. It looks weird, and that's a way to pick up.
I'm staring at you, Lurch, because you're pissing me off.
Already talked about here, do not accuse the person because you need to know their baseline. A few other things liars do is they put objects between themselves. They want to build a barrier because, again, they feel guilty because they are guilty. So if you're sitting with your spouse and you're on the couch and you're talking about the affair or the money or whatever, and all of a sudden they grab a pillow and they're holding the pillow, or maybe they grab some kids' toys and start putting it there. And before you know it, you got pillows and toys and blankets and the Great Wall of China is before you.
Pillows and toys and a Great Wall of China.
That's fucking crazy, man.
They answer all your questions and ask none of their own.
Is go screw yourself a question? Then no, I would not be asking a question.
So if you're interrogating someone or you're trying to find out, okay, maybe you stole the money and you're to that point where do you know if Jeff stole the money, but hey, we think you stole the money. If you're interrogating an innocent person, they're going to ask questions back.
Oh, you think I stole the money? Go screw yourself. Still not a question, more of a recommendation.
So they're going to not sit there and take everything, where a liar may not ask any questions because they know they're guilty. They don't have the normal human being reaction of an innocent person. Liars hate silence.
Truthies love silence. Truthful people sit in silence all the time. All the time. Love it. Like a woman.
They keep silent. Same thing. A normal reaction is that when you're interrogating someone, they're gonna say, what's going on. They're gonna come back. Where liars, silence kills them. So if you sit there after you ask them, don't say anything, they may all of a sudden have diarrhea of the mouth and give them away. One other thing before I get to extreme overreaction is liars, and this is a very obvious one, won't answer your question directly. So I can give you a funny example of this that just happened to me, and I did this on purpose because my wife knew I was joking.
This should be really funny. His wife is a hoot. A lying, pillow, toy, wall-making, money-stealing, eye-twitching hoot.
But my daughter got one of those Cabbage Patch dolls for Christmas. So Cabbage Patch dolls have been around forever, as we know, and she loves this thing, carries it around, and she wanted to sleep with it. Well, my wife said, no, don't let her take it to sleep because it'll distract her, it will keep her up, and she won't go right to sleep. So I'm putting my daughter to bed that night, and I'm trying to take this.
Your wife just wants it for herself, for her little pillow toy wall.
I'm extremely tired, and she starts screaming as soon as I take the doll away. So of course, I hand it back to her, I put her in her crib with her doll, she's as happy as a clam. I go to bed, and my wife's getting ready to get in bed, and she says to me, she's talking to herself, did you give her that doll? I said, what? Now, again, I'm going to go back. She said, she said, she's talking to herself, did you give her the doll? And I said, what? She knew I was joking, but I didn't say no, because I was guilty. I had given my daughter the doll. Now, of course, my wife knew I was joking, but liars, when they're really trying to lie, they're not going to say no. They're going to say, what?
How about I just say what because I didn't hear you?
Lastly, and this is a big one, extreme overreaction. So people who are guilty react extremely to you accusing them. So let's say where my tactical pen is, back in my pocket. If this were missing and I was accusing people here and just, hey, Jim, did you take my tactical pen? Oh, no. Now, if I accuse somebody else and say, hey, did you take my tactical pen? And they fly off the handle and start cussing and screaming, it's like, whoa.
Any sane person would do that. I didn't steal your pen, and I've been cussing a shitstorm at you. You're really surprised at their actions? Put LoJack on your sweet, sweet tactical pen. Just fuck already.
Why do they do that? Because they're so guilty, they think if they overreact that you might not ask them again.
And what are you going to do? What are you going to do next? Frisk me? Report that you kind of think I kind of stole your pen? Follow me around? Get some kind of warrant? What are you going to tell the judge? That I overreacted? That I didn't take enough drama classes in high school? You, sir, are a schmuck.
I'll tell you a story of a real-life example of this. I have a friend.
You notice he keeps trying to tell us he has a friend. Can other people see this friend? Is he there now? Who would want to be friends with this human lie detector? I mean, does he keep it a secret from people like he's an X-Man? With a tactical pen ready to puncture your jugular vein?
One day, she was out and she was in her husband's car for some reason. She found a cell phone.
In her husband's car for some reason. Some suspicious reason. A wife in her husband's car. That is suspicious as hell.
And she called the cell phone. There was only one number in there. A woman picked up and immediately hung up. Now, I don't have to tell you all the red flags going off. So she called me. She was like, oh my gosh, I found the cell phone. Told me that there was only one number. Called this woman. The woman hung up. And I said, listen, this looks like your husband's having an affair. I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry. He could have been having lunch with his buddies and they were carpooling and one of the guys dropped his phone, but he's not going to go there. All right? He's going with the worst case scenario to ruin the lady's marriage. And why is he calling him? All right? Why not one of her girl pals or relative or my God, maybe your husband, to give a chance to explain. Just to divorce him so you could hook up together. You know what? His wife is crazy. And they have a whole Cabbage Patch doll that is creepy as shit. And Looks like Chucky. Why did you call?
And this is a close friend of mine. And like many people would react, she said, oh no, he never had an affair. We've been married 20 years. And I said, okay, your husband, as you say, is not having an affair. Here's what I want you to do. Tell him exactly what you told me, and then call and tell me what his reaction was. So she went to him and said, you know, I was in your car, I found this cell phone, I called, a woman hang up, what's up? That's what I told her to tell him, what she did. So she calls me back later and she says, oh, Jason, you know, good news, he's not having an affair, because you wouldn't believe, when I found the cell phone and told him what I thought, I've never seen him so mad in his life. He went berserk on me, started yelling and screaming, I couldn't believe it. There you go, extreme overreaction.
Like you saw it. You are a turd. I'm not calling you a turd. I have diagnosed you as a turd.
Seen him so mad, I said, listen, I'm sorry to tell you, he's having an affair. She would not believe me. She was in complete denial. Now, horribly, I think this was about 2 months later, she gets a knock on her door from the police. Her husband had died while having sex with his mistress in his mistress's bed. Horrible, horrible story.
I have no proof, but I think you're lying. Just a feeling I have. In fact, I think everything you've told us so far is a lie. And, you know, that's just what it is. A story. I keep seeing this, and I'm sick of it. How to spot a liar, or how to become a human lie detector. This is utter crap. Studies have been conducted since 1986. A researcher, Paul Ekman, wrote about this. It was demonstrated that we are no better than chance at detecting deception. People watch reruns of Lie to Me or videos on the net, and they think this is real. Even news outlets try to sucker you in with stories of human lie detectors. Look, either a person is lying or telling the truth. You have a 50-50 chance of being right, but that's all it is, a stupid guess. Are we living in the dark ages? Phrenology, a psychological method based on the belief that certain mental faculties and character traits are indicated by the configuration of the skull. They could tell if you were a criminal by feeling the bumps on your head. Jane Wenham was accused of being a witch. She was given the prayer test. She had to recite the Lord's Prayer perfectly. She had a problem with forgive us our trespasses and lead us not into temptation. And that was during her interrogation. She was executed as a witch. Unless you're an insane zealot, you know she was innocent. Even the lie detector is a scam. It was invented the same year as the toaster. I'm not going to go into it here. Penn and Teller did a great job, and the show bullshit, and Adam Ruins Everything did a better job explaining what crap this is. Even if you think there's something to it, remember your bias. If you think that a person in your life is cheating, then everything they do will tell you they're lying. If they have none of the telltale signs, you're going to think, well, they just watched the same video I did, and they're covering their tracks, and they must be lying. If you don't like Jews, or blacks, or Hispanics, or Italians, or whatever, then of course, they're all lying. Before you apply for the witch hunter's general position in your company and accuse someone of stealing or any other wrongdoing, you better hope they don't ask you for proof. Because micro-expressions, eye looking, feet pointing, voice quivering is not proof. You want to know if someone's not telling the truth? Well, that requires work. Check the facts. If they said they went to the movies, and you have several witnesses that saw them at the gym, and you have surveillance pictures of them there, then that person's lying. If their facts don't match up, they're lying. If they say they saw a lead pipe floating in the water and it hit a swimmer in the head and that's what killed him, they're lying. Lead does not float. Before you pay money for a DVD or seminar, before you buy into this, remember, you accuse anyone of anything, you need evidence. You need a witness. You can't use, I saw micro-expressions. He wasn't using contractions or any of the bullshit you just saw. The TSA, FBI, and the police, use this stupidity. They are trained to spot a liar. Study after study shows they can't. Why do they continue? Why do they spend the money, our tax money? They want you to believe that this is real. They want to elevate this to something that is admissible in court. They want to cancel out the Fifth Amendment. Well, the suspect didn't say anything, but during questioning, we recorded his micro-expressions and can tell you that this is the one who did it. Don't be sheep. Don't fall for it. It gives the idiot who uses this too much power. It is bull, and that's no lie.